Hi everyone, I'm Meg Sharp and I'm a personal trainer, so I know you're probably thinking that working out wherever I am is super easy, but the reality is just like many of you, I'm really struggling to figure out how to stay motivated and how to get really effective workouts in, given that the gym doors are closed. I'm a huge advocate, everything counts, any move you can do is fabulous, absolutely anything and everything. And the other reality is that when it comes to training your back and your whole posterior chain, so by back I mean the whole thing, right? Back of the neck, back of the shoulders, low back, into the glutes, hamstrings, calves, down into your feet. There are some areas through the back chain that are more difficult to get at with regular body weight exercises. Even when we're running and cycling, we tend to overuse some of the muscles through our anterior, through our front. So a really simple thing that you can add to your home gym, if you're starting to build one, is just a few bands. So I've got here two different tensions of just therabands, so just therapeutic bands that you can buy cut in 5-foot swaths, and a little loop band that allows me to use it around my knees, around my elbows, around my wrists and ankles. This is really all you need to get a phenomenal full body workout that really addresses strengthening through your back. Ready to give it a shot? All right, let's give it a try. So I'm going to put these two down. I'm going to start by putting this simple loop band up over my knees. So I'm going to go into a squat, and the fantastic thing about the loop band is that it causes me to externally rotate my hips in order to keep tension on the band and keep the knees tracking over my toes. And that external rotation at the hip, what that does is it turns on some of the muscles through my glutes, my glute medius, my glute min in particular, that externally rotate, help my knee track properly and stabilize my hips. So it's a phenomenal way of strengthening muscles that typically don't get used a whole lot, right into the lateral and backside. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath in. I'm going to initiate the movement with my hips, so a karate chop, hip fold back as I breathe in, and then I'm going to exhale and come back up. And how low you go is really up to you, whatever feels good, and whatever depth you can generate without losing that nice neutral spine. I want you to think about keeping relatively tall. So even though I said karate chop and bend the hips back, I don't want you to bend the torso all the way down, not here, right? So really think about a nice plumb line from your tailbone all the way up through the top of your head. Sit back down. Nice deep breath in and down we go. And as we progress with this, you start to feel those glutes firing. It's really great. I'm continuing to drive my knees out, but really the driver of keeping the space in the knees is those hips and the top of that thigh bone. So let me finish off. I'm just going to do another 3 here. And we're going to go into a little sidewalk, last 2 and last 1. Now, could I put the band around my ankles? I sure could. That's going to make the lever a little bit longer. It's going to make it a little tougher to keep that external rotation. But I do like the control to be above the knees. For any of us that have some challenges with the knee, this is the safer place to put it. So I recommend you start with that first. If you need that extra long lever to put around the ankle, go for it. Just be really cognizant that you're externally rotating and keeping those knees over the toes. So the next one I like is a simple walk. We call this one the grade 8 dance. And you'll notice I'm just taking little steps off to the side and keeping my toes directly forward. And I'm careful not to step too far in with the next leg. Right if I do that, I take the tension off the band, sort of cheating. So I take a little step here, little step back, little step here. I think about pushing my ankle out, leading with the ankle and the heel, nice and tall, not allowing that low back to arch at all. Let's take it the other way again. So push out. It's almost like you're imagining you're about to go pigeon-toed with these tiny steps. You don't quite go there, you're not exactly there, but in your brain you're thinking, okay, I'm leading with my ankle and the outside of my heel, and then following with that tiny little step in response. So you can take it all the way over to the other end of the mat. Beautiful. And then we're going to open up that chest and get those shoulders firing. This is probably one of my absolute favorite exercises. So we call this a pull apart, a banded pull apart. You can either do it supinated with the hands up or pronated with the hands down. And we just activate a few different muscles either way. So let's start with the supinated version. Hands sit just beneath your shoulders. We're going to activate through the core and the glutes so that we're nice and stable through here, because often when we draw our shoulders down and back, when we retract and depress our shoulder blades, sometimes the pelvis will react by also tilting back, so that while we're looking to get a nice extension through the thoracic spine, opening up the chest, what we don't want to have happen is that low back arch as well. So use the glutes, tuck the tailbone under a little bit of strength and control through the abs, hands just below the shoulders, and then I begin by pulling, drawing those shoulders down and back, and a little hold at the back, squeeze, hold. So getting into those lower traps, the rhomboids, a little bit through the lats, and hold. Great, so take a nice deep breath in, and then draw the shoulders down and back, squeeze, hold, right there. You will probably feel a nice stretch through the chest, maybe a little bit of a stretch through the bicep tendon as well. And exhale, doesn't that feel good? Nice and long through the neck. Open up that throat. Keep those feet pressed down into the mat and draw those shoulders down and back again as I'm thinking about opening up the chest and extending, lengthening, gently extending through that thoracic spine. I'm ensuring that I'm not also extending through the lumbar spine. So let's do another 3, and then let's move back into something with the legs. 3 and 2, and last 1. Great. Okay, another favorite low body exercise of mine with the bands is going into a banded deadlift. So our deadlifts, as many of you know, it is a hip dominant movement. It can either be done with relatively straight legs, hips down and back, or we can bend the knees a little bit more depending on your flexibility. I'm going to encourage you to keep the knees relatively straight, not locked out at all. They're going to be a little fluid, a little soft to allow a little bit of a bend. But I would like to take advantage of getting a bit of a stretch through the hamstring at the bottom of this exercise. And the thing I love about the band, you'll notice, pardon me, that I selected the heavier of my 2 bands. So this one's a little bit tougher. I like it a little bit better. My legs are stronger than my arms, so I'm going to challenge them a little bit more. So I'm going to come down, I'm going to grab onto my band, take a nice good grip with them. But don't over grip, you don't need to exhaust and tire your hands and forearms. But make sure you've got a decent grip on that band. My feet are just wider than shoulder width apart, knees tracking right over the toes. I want you to draw all the way up and then pause here for a minute. And as I pause at the top, I'm drawing my shoulders down and back. I'm cognizant of needing to keep some activation through the glutes so that low back doesn't arch. I can feel a bit of tension in my inner thigh, tension running down the backs of my legs and down the back of my back. This feels really good. A nice posture check. Feels like a little bit of a stretch, definitely a posterior chain activation. As I take a nice deep breath in, again, I'm going to fold those hips back first. So notice as my hips move back, my torso is moving with them. So I'm not moving the hips by themselves. I'm moving the hips and the torso together. I feel a gentle stretch through the hamstring. I continue to drive the hips back as the chest follows. Deep breath in, exhale to finish. Reactivate that whole posterior chain at the top. Now I've got a bit more laxity at the bottom than I would like. I would like to feel that a little bit of tension the whole way down. I'm going to pause here, carefully brace through my abs. I'm going to shorten that just a little bit. Nice deep breath in before I go. Draw the shoulders down and back. Sometimes refer to this as a wedge. And then exhale all the way up. Okay, let's try 10 of them with a good pace, shall we? Nice deep breath in. 1 and 2, 3. Nice deep breath in. 4, shoulders down and back, reactivating through the glutes. Gentle stretch through the hamstring as I come down into the bottom. Nice and long through the neck. Open through the chest without flaring the ribs. Let's do another 3. Last 3. And 2. And last 1. Fantastic. Okay, let's move back into the upper body. So this one I call a modified lat pull down. It's a fun one. Again, activating those muscles through the shoulders. If you've been sitting too long at the computer hunched down, this is so nice for opening up that chest and activating through the back. Now, you can take this looped band. I recommend, if you've got 2 different sizes, to probably start with the lighter one. You can either loop between your thumbs to pull apart, or if you like, you can loop it around your wrists and gently pull apart. So I prefer the wrists here. My hands get a little sore, so I like to just put it on the back side of either wrist and then pull gently apart. Now as I pull apart, I open up through that collarbone, right, nice and steady right here. Open that up, and then I'm gonna drive these arms up over my head. Breathe in, and then as I come down, I'm gonna pull apart again, draw the shoulders down and back, and pull the band down towards my collarbone. Nice, steady, and tall. So again, nice deep breath in, pull the band apart, draw the shoulders down, and pull. There we go. So again, nice deep breath in, and exhale, come down. Now, I've moved onto my knees strategically so that you can see the full range, but honestly, I love doing these on my knees because then I can flex my glutes and get a little bit of a hip extension underneath. So I've got my feet together, and then I drive my hips up and under, and I hold some tension through my glutes. Open up. So again, I'm open through the top of the chest, but trying to keep that integrity through the base of the ribs, nice strong rib to hip connection. Come up, pull the band apart. I can't do very many of these. These are tough. All right, can you do 2 more with me? Nice deep breath in, pull apart, shoulders down and back. And let's go 1 more time. Pull apart, drop down, shoulders down and back. Fantastic. Okay, where are we gonna go next? Next, I'm gonna go right down onto the mat. Glute bridging. I love glute bridges, hip thrusters, call it anything you like. It's just such a fantastic way to strengthen the hips and the whole core. If I've got a band, again, I can get a little bit more into those external rotators. I can challenge the glutes a little bit more and really work on that patellar tracking, which is so important for many of us. So again, I've got this band just above my knees. Take a moment to set myself up. I'm going to draw my elbows down into the mat, open up through that chest, and then careful not to allow that low back to arch too much. So I'm going to correct that. I am not jamming my low back into the mat, but rather I'm just ensuring that it stays neutral, if that makes sense. So jamming my low back down into the mat would be that. Arching the low back would be here, and I'm coming just nice and neutral. Low levels of tension. I'm thinking about reaching the knees over the toes and gently externally rotating the thighs from the top of the hip bone. Nice deep breath in. Drive the elbows into the mat. A little bit of tension through the abs, and bring the hips up into a nice straight line. Again, nice deep breath in, and exhale. So I'm externally rotating from the hip, but then I'm counterbalancing that by pushing the ball of my foot right behind that big toe
down into the yoga mat so that the knees actually track beautifully, and I've got a nice tension line from glutes through the knees and down in behind that big toe. I have a little pause at the top so I can think about really activating through the glutes and the abs, keeping that low back nice and neutral. So let's do another 6 here. These feel so good. And last 6. Nice deep breath in, glutes, abs set. Keep that chest and throat nice and open. 4 more to go. Last 4. And 3. Last 2. And 1 more time. Terrific. Let's take that band off of those knees. And now while we're down on the mat, I'd like to take you right into a seated row. Again, this is such a phenomenal exercise to do with the bands. And you can attach this band to really almost anything. You could do this row from a chair, you could do it standing. I'm going to do it right here on the mat. I'm going to separate my feet so they're about hip width apart. I've got my toes pointed right up towards the ceiling. Knees a little bit bent so that I can stack my chest right over my hips. So I'm not leaning back here, but I'm nice and stacked right there. Now some of you will be flexible enough. You can have slightly straighter knees. I'll leave that up to you. But I do want you to try and keep that torso as upright as possible. Again, nice deep breath in. Decent tension with the hands, but not over gripping. Initiate the row by drawing the shoulders down and back, and then bend the elbows further. Hold for a few seconds. Nice and tall. Nice deep breath in. And shoulders down and back. Hold, squeeze. Nice and tall. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. And exhale. Shoulders down and back. And let's do it again. Nice deep breath in. Draw their shoulders down and back. And stay up nice and tall. Deep breath in, shoulders down and back. And then continue to bend the elbows. Keep those toes pointed right up towards the ceiling. Little bit of tension in the abs. Check that torso. Make sure you're not leaning too far back. But stay nice, tall, and forward. Let's do another 4. Shoulders down and back. Open up the chest, hold, squeeze. 4. And 3. Here we go for 2. And last 1. Okay, let's do 2 more. 1 more for the legs, 1 more for the arms. I'm gonna put the band back up, the circle band back up around my knees. And what I'm gonna do is hold a dynamic squat with the front leg, but I'm gonna step this back leg back about 45 degrees, and then step it back in line with the hip. So this knee is just over or just behind the front toe. I've got some nice weight on this leg. I'm using these glutes and this hip to keep that knee from caving in, right? I've got to externally rotate against that band, keep the knee in line with the toe. And in this one, the knee stays relatively in line with the toe, but I step back, creating more tension on this leg. So as I pull back and out, this knee has to continue to rotate more out this way. So loads of glute activation, okay? I practiced on the first leg, so I'm gonna switch over. So my right leg, nice and strong. I start with the knees, both knees right over the toe, little bit of external rotation on both sides, and let's do 10 step back. So again, it's a 45-degree step back. This leg is where the majority of your weight is sitting. Chest is nice and tall, little bit of a hip hinge forward. On your marks, get set and go. So step back for 1 and 2. Perfect. 3, sit back, nice and steady here. 4, keep going. 5, I'm just gonna turn this way so you can see from here. 6, yeah, so I'm planting this other leg back. 8, keeping this nice and still. 9 and 10. Good, so lots of stability going on in that front leg. External rotation, inner thigh firing a little bit. Get yourself set up, little hip hinge forward, and out we go. 1 and 2, steady and strong. 3, good. 4, 45-degree angle back. 5, breathe in and exhale. 6, good. 7, excellent. 8, perfect. 9 and 10, nice. Okay, we did lots of work for the back, the muscles in the back, but we also have the back of the arm to look at. So triceps. Love working the triceps with the band. We could, of course, anchor the band and go into a simple tricep pull down, but I love to use this in what we call a quadruped position. So I'm down on all fours, I'm drawing those shoulders down and back, and I'm putting quite a bit of weight into my lap, into my thighs, and into my abdominals, shoulders down and back. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the band under one hand, grab the band into the hand that's working, bring that elbow just up to clear over my back. So I've got a nice 90-degree angle here, okay? Elbow is not low, elbow is nice and high. Trying to make a nice straight line from the top of my shoulder through to my elbow and a 90-degree start and finish. I'm then going to take a nice deep breath in. I'm going to exhale and extend that arm all the way back. Straight line, hold for a minute, push that baby finger up towards the ceiling. So deep breath in. Here we go. For 1, nice deep breath in. And 2. Yeah, grab that high position. Neck stays nice and long. We're trying to get that arm as straight as possible. So really flexing into that tricep. A little bit of energy through the abs to ensure that low back isn't firing. Shoulder stays retracted and depressed. So in that back position, shoulder blade drops down towards the spine and stays away from your ear. Let's do 3 more on this side, and we'll challenge the same movement on the other side. 3 and 2, last 1. Fantastic. Maybe even feel a little bit of a stretch through the front of the shoulder and through the bicep, but there should be no pain. Now, if it feels uncomfortable to straighten the arm all that way, just take it as far as it's comfortable to go. So again, down on all fours. I'm fixing this band under the one hand, other hand reaches up, elbow lifts up, shoulder, first shoulder retracts and depress, and then the elbow comes afterwards. Grab onto that band and extend all the way up to the ceiling for 1. Nice deep breath. And 2, pushing that baby finger up towards the ceiling. 3. Nice deep breath. Exhale for 4. Keeping energy in the abs so that low back isn't arching. 5 and 6. Excellent. 4 more to go. Pull, pull, pull. Extend that band. 7, 8. Excellent. 2 more. 9 and 1 last one. 10. Fantastic. Great work, everyone. Feel free to rewind that, review it. If you string the whole thing together, you can get a really good full body workout with, of course, an emphasis on the muscles through your backside, which is great. You can also challenge the stuff as supersets. So do the lower body, upper body, and do those back-to-back in sets. Upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body. Move on to the next set of 2 and run those for 3 or 4 sets as well. I hope you found that useful. It's such a great workout. It's going to open you up, make your back feel strong, your chest open, and give you a great break from sitting over that computer. Thanks so much for joining me from my home to yours.